Alright, what's going on, guys? So, the Destiny community certainly is not going quiet into the night. If you guys tuned into Sony's State of Play yesterday, where they showed off their new Wolverine game that Insomniac is making, or, God of War, or any of the other stuff that was shown yesterday, those were probably the two biggest highlights. I mean, they spent a ton of time on both of those games, but there were other games shown. And all anybody in the chat seemed to care about was Destiny 3. The Destiny community absolutely blew this stream up. If anybody was in there, you definitely saw it. It was pretty much everywhere. Any stream you went into across all platforms, all the chat was people demanding Destiny 3. For anyone who doesn't know why this is happening, I'll fill you in really quickly. So on May 21st, Bungie announced that Destiny 2 would be getting its final update ever, which honestly looks really good. But the Destiny community was immediately very upset about this and took to Twitter and pretty much every other platform on the earth to complain about it and lobby for a Destiny 3. There was an immediate community movement that started up trying to save Destiny. There's a petition you can still sign today that has over 340,000 signatures at the time of me making this video. I'll leave a link in the description to that petition if you want to go sign it and you haven't already done so. But anyway, outside of just the petition, there is also a massive movement to log into Destiny 2 on June 9th and try to overflow the servers and break all-time player counts and things like that. I'm not exactly sure if we'll get to that point, but I do think that there will be a ton of people on the game on June 9th, especially across all platforms. Destiny right now is hitting like 300k players a day or around that, basically on all platforms after their announcement, and also on Steam. The player count has been rapidly rising, so the Destiny community is definitely not going quiet into the night. And also helping to fuel this movement is Destiny longtime community manager DMG. As you guys may have seen, he tweeted a couple things on Sunday that definitely encouraged the community to keep fighting. The first being, "Guardians make their own fate," a very popular Destiny quote that's existed for a long time, originating in the Vault of Glass, and it's been used throughout many times in Destiny's lifespan to kind of like speak for community morale over the years. He also said, "Do not go gentle into that good night," which is a quote from both the movie Interstellar and a very famous poet. I think a lot of people have tried to see more meaning into these tweets than what there probably is actually there. I honestly think that DMG was just trying to help rally the community and show that he supports this entire movement of trying to save Destiny and that he is doing his part in that. I don't really know that this means anything has changed internally at Sony or Bungie. I am kind of inclined to believe that's not the case until we hear absolutely definitively otherwise. And it's not that I think DMG is tone deaf or anything like that. Genuinely, I think that he is just trying to do his part to help rally the community and help this movement. I don't really think that there's much more that you could look into from it than that, personally. I mean, you could take it as like, oh yeah, maybe things have changed internally. Maybe Sony does hear everything that's being said on Twitter and stuff, which, I mean, it would be really hard for them not to hear all the noise at this point. I mean, the community has been loud ever since the announcement was made in the first place that they want Destiny 3. I mean, that is what most people have been clamoring for this entire time. A lot of people who don't even play Destiny 2 anymore or haven't in years just want a Destiny 3. It's not that they necessarily don't care about Destiny anymore. But yeah, I honestly think that's probably what DMG's intentions were behind those tweets in the first place. I could be wrong, I would love to be wrong, and I would love to just, believe that something was greenlit internally or something like that has changed drastically over the last few weeks, but I honestly don't really subscribe to that belief as much as I do just that he was trying to help hype the community up and stuff. And I would say it definitely worked because, like I said, if you guys saw Sony's live stream yesterday, all anyone really seemed to care about was Destiny 3 in that chat. It didn't matter what games were actually being shown. And me personally, I have never really seen this in gaming before. I mean, I've seen movements like the Bloodborne movement or Titanfall or things like that where people have really tried to get another game greenlit or, just fought for that game to continue to exist. And while those are big movements, this movement clearly is a level beyond what we've probably seen in the past in gaming as far as trying to save a game. I mean, this is one of the few times where there is like a definitive statement on a massive game like Destiny that there is not going to be any support going forward or like anything coming in the future, at least that we know of right now. So it really is just a giant group of people who have spent, years of their lives at this point growing up with this series and playing it year in and year out and always expecting something new to be coming each year just for that to finally stop. And people are upset about it naturally because one, there were years and years of content that, was planned for Destiny that's not going to happen now. There was a DLC in the Shattered Cycle that was somewhere close to being complete. I'm not saying that it was literally 90% done or anything, but I believe from the reports that we have heard from Paul Tassi and pretty much every other source indicate that it was around anywhere from 60 to 80% complete. There was a raid that was pretty much done for it. Like, this is the kind of thing that, it just doesn't make a lot of sense in my brain as to why you would completely axe a brand that's as beloved as Destiny. And furthermore, like, ending it in the way that they are, or more so at the time that they are, is the thing that confuses me more than anything. Because, I mean, like, they've had months now to make an announcement, right? Like, Edge of Fate bombed a full year ago at this point, pretty much. I mean, it was 11 months ago when Edge of Fate actually released. And that was the DLC that really put the game on this trajectory that it's on right now. And, I mean, Renegades didn't exactly do a great deal to slow the bleeding. I don't think it was a terrible DLC or anything like that, but it didn't really slow the bleeding very much. So, I mean, like, still no announcement came immediately after Renegades, and that's the thing that really just confuses me. Like, why were there so many people still working on Shattered Cycle despite the fact that, end of support for the game was basically coming? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And you have this DLC that's basically just lost media at this point that should be released in about a month. I think it was due for like July 9th or something like that. It just doesn't make a lot of sense why you would have them not just release it. And furthermore, I mean, as you guys can see, if a game is as beloved as Destiny and there's this many people that are willing to fight for it, then clearly you should probably just go ahead and make another game. Like, I don't care about the money. You're going to make that money back. That's just kind of the reality of it, right? If you have this many people that want a game, it's going to make that money back. Both Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 were widely successful games. Sure, Destiny 2 has not exactly been pumping money as of late in the way that it did at times in the past, but I mean, like, Forsaken still sold very well, Witch Queen sold very well, and Lightfall sold very well. So, I mean, like, clearly there is still a market for Destiny, and for that regard, I mean, even Final Shape, I mean, it, I guess, didn't quite break the player count or anything like that, but it came very close to breaking the all-time peak on Steam. And as I said in my other video talking about, end of support for Destiny 2, me personally, I don't think that the game needed to end with Final Shape necessarily. I think that would have been acceptable. Like, if that had been the way that things went out, then I would have been okay with that. I don't think most of us would be lobbying in the way that we are for a Destiny 3, given that situation. I mean, obviously, there's a passionate amount of people that still want Destiny to have content going forward, and me personally, like I've said in the past, Destiny doesn't even need a story, in my opinion, for me to play it. Like, I mean, I know that's not a popular opinion probably, but me personally, I mean, like, I didn't care about Destiny's story for most of its lifespan, man. Until about the year before Witch Queen, like when everything about Savathûn started coming out, that was probably like one of the first times that I really cared about Destiny's story in a big way. I mean, I cared somewhat about like the Dreaming City stuff. I thought that Dreaming City was really cool and everything related to Riven and just that entire storyline leading up to Savathûn, but anything that wasn't that really, I've not really had like a great deal of investment in Destiny. So I mean, like, you could kind of give me whatever and I'd be fine with it as long as the content was fun. Because, I mean, like, I understand that a lot of people really have a lot of love for, like, Taken King and Rise of Iron, but if you really go back and play those expansions, the campaigns for those expansions were very short-lived. Like, you can finish Taken King in the span of, like, 2 hours, maybe tops, or for Rise of Iron, I mean, that campaign is really short. Like, it's shorter than I even remember it being. So, I mean, like, in my opinion, like, growing up with Destiny 1 and, playing it all those years, it kind of just desensitized me to caring about Destiny's story as opposed to Destiny as a game and, like, what the end game offers and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, even now, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I didn't care about Renegade's story or Edge of Fate's story. I thought they were fine, but, like, I'm playing Destiny for the activities. I'm playing Destiny for the raids, the general gunplay and stuff like that. So, I mean, I understand not everybody's going to agree with me on that, and that's perfectly okay. Like, if you want to play Destiny for the story, that's okay. And I mean, I hope that Bungie has something in the future, if Destiny ever has more content, that will satisfy people who really care about Destiny's story. I mean, you got the Xivu or Wrath storyline sitting right there for a Destiny 3 or anything that happens to come to Destiny 2 in the future. I don't know exactly what Shattered Cycle was going to be about, but leaks kind of indicate that it would have been like a Vex and Taken DLC involving Maya, I believe, or something like that. So I don't know. There's an entire DLC that I really wish we could get a hold of that might, kind of lead us in a direction where people would start to care about Destiny's story again. But for me personally, like I said, man, just like give me a dungeon, give me a raid a year, and I'll be happy. Like, and some cool activities like the Nether and stuff like that. That's what I care about in Destiny more than anything. It's just the activities that will come to the game and the loot more than anything as well. Like, I really care about loot. I care about like cosmetic chases and stuff like that in the game, having like rare cosmetics to go and chase. And just in general, any loot drops in the game is the stuff that makes me actually, motivated to play the game. So I just want Destiny to continue to exist from that standpoint of someone who doesn't care a ton about the story. But like I said, I understand that there's a ton of people that have the alternate opinion that they really want Destiny's story to be thriving, and that's perfectly okay. But even if that is you that thinks the Destiny story needs to be in a good place to continue, I still just the kind of the point that I was making at the beginning of this whole like little section is that I think that Destiny's story can exist outside of the Light and Dark saga, and there's still a ton of things that can still be explored in this universe that can still be interesting. I made a previous video talking about this giant movement to save Destiny 2, and my opinions on the matter have not really changed. I definitely think that you guys should show up and show your support for the Destiny franchise, fight for what you believe in. I have no qualms with that whatsoever. I will say that I don't really expect any of this to make a giant difference, even knowing that this is one of the biggest movements that the gaming world has probably ever seen. I still just don't think that it's going to really change a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it might not be about that so much as it is just sending a message in the first place that Sony made the wrong decision in the game that they were willing to support long term, or Bungie or whatever, or just showing your love for Destiny in the grand scheme of things. Those are the things I think that will matter the most in this entire topic, whether or not Destiny 3 ends up getting greenlit because of it or not. And more important than that, honestly, I think, is to just come together one last time as a community, fight for the game that we have spent all these years growing up with and playing and loving, and to just, like I said, come together and enjoy one last update for the game that we have all spent all these years on. And if all the noise happens to get a Destiny 3 greenlit, that's great. If not, I mean, at least we all got to come together and enjoy one last update together. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at this. I think a lot of the things that Bungie has done in this update will future-proof Destiny 2 in a lot of ways for years to come. I know that, when there's no content coming to the game actively anymore, a lot of people are going to end up dipping off eventually after a little bit. But, I mean, either way, I'm happy that Bungie is at least taken the time to release one last update for the game that's going to do a lot of good for it, including, like, overhauling the artifact system and everything they're doing to champion mods and all the build crafting opportunities that are going to come as a result of both of those things. All the new additions to the game like SRL, all the new Crucible loot, all the new, loot in the game overall that's being refreshed over the course of pretty much everywhere in the game, all the raid and dungeon stuff, Pantheon 2.0 being there. All these things I think are going to make for one of the best updates that Destiny 2 has ever received. So if you are someone that, misses Destiny and wants to hop on for one last ride, I think there will be a great deal of reason to do that. I'm not happy with everything that, has played out over the last year, or honestly much of it, but this is the one thing that I think has came out of it that has just been an objective good thing for the game. Sure, there are a lot of things that I wish could be in this update that aren't, and obviously I wish that the vaulted content it was coming back, but that is never going to happen at this point, unfortunately, unless something changes internally. So all we can really do is make the most of it. I mean, we've got a couple, or I guess like a few raid encounters coming back from the Sunset raids, and unfortunately, I guess we won't really be able to get like the Forsaken campaign or the Red War back, but I think even despite that, this can still be a great update for the game, and I mean, who knows what'll happen in the future with the Destiny franchise. I mean, I hope that this truly isn't the end. I hope that all of this does make a difference in the grand scheme of things, but regardless of that, My message to the Destiny community is to take a minute to smell the roses with this final update ever. That is the best advice that I can give to any of you, regardless of what the future of the franchise ends up holding or not holding. I think just taking a minute to take it all in and appreciate everything that this game has been, all the memories that you have made on it over all these years, and to just log in one last time, with all the excitement and hype that you've had in the past to log into Destiny on, big release days and stuff like that. Anytime that the servers have ever gone crazy because of all the people trying to log in on release days, just to take a minute to appreciate all of that one last time. That is the message that I think is the most important to take from this. Because, this might be the last time that we ever get anything for the Destiny franchise. So I think I definitely support you guys, fighting and being loud and all that stuff. And I want you guys to keep that up because, even if it doesn't end up changing anything in the grand scheme of things, which I lean that it won't, it's still important to just get your voice heard on something that you're really passionate about. So if you want to fight for Destiny's future, by all means do that. But more than anything, I really do hope that everyone just takes a minute to appreciate this final update ever and just, like I said, smell the roses and take it all in. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Let me know your thoughts on everything in this whole situation. If you're going to be logging in on the 9th and if you're excited for this final update ever, let me know what you're looking forward to the most. We have a ton of content coming, ton of stuff that there's going to be to do, ton of loot to chase. So there's going to be a lot of reasons to get on the game and, play for quite a bit after this update releases. So I do hope that the entire Destiny community can just come together for this final update and have a good time more than anything. And I hope that something will come of it in the future, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what the future holds for the Destiny franchise. Leave a like, subscribe, comment below, and I will catch you guys soon. Peace.